Mom taught me not to keep what isn't mine. Black Waitress's daughter moved the billionaire CEO. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. It's one that will make you think about power, respect, and the unexpected moments when everything flips on its head. Picture this. A bustling restaurant in downtown San Francisco, filled with the hum of chatter and the clinking of silverware. The atmosphere is upscale, elegant, the kind of place where people go to seal deals, celebrate success, or drown in their own egos. In the center of it all is a powerful billionaire CEO who's used to having his way, looking down at everyone around him with that familiar air of superiority. But there's one person in the room who's not impressed by his wealth or his status. A young, black waitress named Maya, working tirelessly through the evening, her hands swift and efficient as she moves between tables. She's used to this routine. The guests ignore her, never truly noticing her presence unless they need something, and that's just fine with her. Maya has learned the hard way that being invisible in a room full of the powerful is a survival tactic. As she walks past the CEO's table, he smirks and turns to his colleagues, making a snide remark about her, underestimating her as he always does. "I bet she's just here for a paycheck," he mutters loud enough for her to hear, not expecting any consequences. It's a comment designed to belittle, to remind everyone of the power imbalance between them. But Maya doesn't flinch. She doesn't even look at him. She just goes about her job, refilling glasses, taking orders, maintaining that quiet dignity that her mother taught her. You see, Maya's mother raised her with one golden rule: never take what isn't yours. It's a lesson that has shaped Maya's life in ways that no one in that restaurant could even begin to understand. Maya had never forgotten this rule, even in moments of hardship. But what the CEO didn't know was that Maya's life wasn't defined by his wealth or power. It was defined by the principles her mother instilled in her. As the evening goes on, the CEO continues to make his comments, unaware that his behavior is about to come back to haunt him. Maya knows it's just a matter of time before the situation shifts. She's heard people like him talk before. All talk, no substance. But what happens next will change everything. A situation unfolds, one that will force the CEO to confront the very power he believes he controls. Maya's quiet strength, fueled by her mother's lessons, will leave him speechless and shaken to his core. And as the room goes silent, with eyes on Maya and the CEO, the tables will turn in ways that no one could have predicted. As Maya continues her shift, the CEO's condescending remarks seem to echo in her ears, but she keeps her head down, focusing on her work. She's used to it by now, the whispers, the dismissive glances, the way they treat her like she's invisible unless they need something. But this time, something feels different. She's not the same young woman who first stepped into this restaurant a few years ago. She's stronger, more determined, and the lessons her mother taught her run deep. Maya moves through the restaurant like a shadow, yet there's a quiet power in the way she walks. Her hands are steady as she clears empty glasses and plates, but her mind is elsewhere. She can still hear the CEO's voice, dripping with arrogance. As the night goes on, the restaurant fills with an electric tension. Maya can feel it in the air, like a storm about to break. The CEO continues to boast about his latest business ventures, his voice loud and self-assured. He's surrounded by his colleagues, all of them hanging on his every word, laughing at his jokes, nodding at his arrogance. And yet, despite all his wealth, power, and influence, Maya feels a sense of superiority over him. She knows something he doesn't. True power isn't in how much money you have or who you know. It's in how you treat people. It's in your integrity, your ability to stand up for what's right, no matter the consequences. And she won't let him forget that. The night draws to a close, and the CEO is still talking, still holding court at the center of the room. But something has shifted. Maya doesn't know why, but she can feel it. The way the other guests are looking at him, the way the staff has begun to quietly step back from his table. It's subtle at first, but Maya can tell. Something is happening. She finishes her last round of service for the night. But instead of retreating to the kitchen like usual, she lingers. She watches the CEO and his entourage. Their conversation, now a series of meaningless noises that don't seem to matter anymore. He's still the same arrogant man he was when he walked in, but now he's losing his grip. His power feels tenuous, like it's built on sand instead of stone. And Maya realizes that she's seen enough. She's had enough. The moment she's been waiting for has arrived. As the CEO finishes his conversation and stands up, preparing to leave, he makes his way toward the door, brushing past Maya without so much as a glance. But this time, she's not going to let him get away with it. She steps into his path, blocking his way, her posture calm but firm. "I don't think you understand," she says, her voice steady but carrying a weight that makes him pause. He looks down at her, surprised, as if he didn't expect her to speak up. His eyes narrow, his jaw tightens. He's not used to being challenged. "What do you want?" he sneers, his voice dripping with disdain. Maya stands her ground, not intimidated by his size or his wealth. "You've been insulting me and my mother all night," she says, her voice unwavering. "And you think you can walk away without facing the consequences?" There's a brief moment of silence before the CEO lets out a huff of laughter, dismissing her with a wave of his hand. "You're just a waitress," he says. "What do you think you can do to me?" Maya doesn't flinch. "I'm not just a waitress," she replies. "I'm someone who knows what it means to be treated with respect. And I'm not going to let you get away with treating people like dirt." The room is still. The energy has shifted, and for the first time, the CEO seems unsure of himself. He stands there, staring at Maya, his earlier arrogance replaced by a flicker of doubt. For a split second, Maya sees something in his eyes, fear, maybe, or the beginning of regret. But it doesn't matter. She's already won. She doesn't need him to apologize, to admit his wrongs. She knows that his actions will speak louder than any words could. As the CEO stands there, momentarily speechless, Maya steps aside, allowing him to pass. But this time, he does so with his head slightly lowered, as if acknowledging, if only for a moment, that he's not the only one with power in this room. Maya watches him leave, but instead of feeling triumph, she feels a quiet sense of peace. She knows her mother would be proud of her, proud that she stood up for what was right, no matter the cost. Maya's strength comes not from the position she holds, but from the values she's been taught, the values that will carry her forward, no matter where life takes her. And as the restaurant doors close behind the CEO, Maya knows that the world is a little bit more just because of her. The next few days after the incident in the restaurant are a blur for Maya. Word of what happened spreads quickly, not just among the staff, but also through the city. The billionaire CEO, once a symbol of untouchable power, is now the subject of whispers. People talk, some with admiration for the young waitress who stood up to him, and others with disbelief that someone so humble could bring down such a giant. Maya doesn't pay much attention to the gossip. She's back at work, keeping her head low, focusing on her tasks, trying to remain as invisible as she was before. But deep down, she knows she can't go back to being the quiet, unseen person she once was. Her confidence has been shaken, yes, but also strengthened. She can't help but think back to her mother's words, "Never take what isn't yours," and how much they've shaped her into the woman she's become. The CEO, on the other hand, isn't handling things as well. The deal he had been negotiating falls apart, and within a few days, he's facing backlash in the media. His reputation, once untarnished, is now under scrutiny, and people are starting to wonder if he's really the person he's always claimed to be. Maya can feel the change when she walks into work that morning. Her coworkers look at her differently. They've seen the footage of her standing up to the CEO, her calm but firm demeanor, and it's made an impact. Some offer her small, quiet nods of respect. Others just avoid her, unsure of how to act around someone who's challenged someone as powerful as the CEO. Maya tries not to let it bother her, but it's hard not to feel the weight of their stares. She focuses on doing her job, just like she's always done. But deep down, she's starting to question if this is the life she wants. As she serves a table of regulars, a voice interrupts her thoughts. "Maya." She turns to see the restaurant manager standing nearby, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable. "Can we talk?" Maya follows him into the back office, the noise of the restaurant fading behind her. The manager shuts the door and takes a seat behind his desk. "I've been getting calls," he starts, his tone serious. People from the CEO's circle asking about you. They want to know if you're interested in a different kind of job. Maya's heart skips a beat. She's heard rumors of people being offered more than just a tip for doing favors for the rich and powerful, but she never thought it would happen to her. She doesn't know whether to be insulted or intrigued. What do you mean by a different kind of job? She asks, trying to keep her voice steady. The manager leans forward, his hands steepled together. They're offering you a chance to work with them, Maya. A position with more money, more power. They're impressed by what you did, standing up to the CEO. They want to see what else you've got. Maya's mind races. This isn't what she expected. It feels like a trap, but the idea of leaving the life she knows behind for something bigger, something that could change everything, is tempting. I didn't do it for any reward, Maya says, her voice firm. I did it because it was the right thing to do. And I don't need their charity. The manager doesn't say anything for a moment, just watches her, his gaze unwavering. I thought you'd say that, he finally says. But it's not charity, Maya. It's an opportunity. The kind of opportunity that could change your life. Maya stands there, her heart pounding in her chest. She knows this is a moment that could define her future, but she's not sure she's ready to take the leap. She thanks the manager and leaves the office, her mind swirling with the weight of the decision before her. That night, as she walks home from work, she can't help but think about the CEO, about how his life is unraveling, about how his power, which once seemed so unshakable, now seems fragile. She wonders if he ever realized how close he came to losing everything. But then her thoughts shift back to herself. She thinks about her mother's teachings, about the strength that comes from standing up for what's right, even when the world is against you. She knows she has choices to make, and she knows that whatever she chooses, she'll do it on her own terms. The next morning arrives quietly, the kind of quiet that feels like the world is holding its breath. Maya wakes early, her mind still tangled with the offer the manager mentioned. She brews a cup of coffee, its warmth steadying her thoughts, but nothing calms the unease building in her chest. She has always lived by her mother's lessons, and now she feels the weight of them more than ever. She steps out onto the small balcony of her apartment, watching the city wake up. Delivery trucks hum down the street. Early commuters rush past with coffee in hand, and the rest of the world moves forward as if nothing has changed. But for Maya, everything has. She heads to the restaurant for her shift, her footsteps slower than usual. When she enters, the atmosphere seems different. People pause mid-conversation, eyes following her before darting away. It is not fear, and it is not pity. It is something like recognition. As Maya ties her apron, she notices the restaurant owner, a stern man who rarely steps out of his office, walking toward her. His expression is unreadable. He holds a small envelope in his hand. "This came for you," he says simply, placing the envelope on the counter. Maya looks at it, her heart starting to race. There is no name on the front, only the restaurant's address written in careful handwriting. She hesitates before opening it. Inside is a simple handwritten note. "You deserve better. Meet me at the marina at 6 in the evening. There is something you need to hear. Come alone." And beneath the line, a signature she recognizes immediately. It is the CEO. Maya's breath catches. She had not expected this. She had not expected him to reach out at all, much less in such a personal way. She folds the note and tucks it into her pocket. All day, she tries to focus on her work, but the hours pass slowly, each minute stretching longer than the one before. She wonders what he wants. A confrontation, an apology, or something else entirely. When 6 in the evening approaches, Maya walks to the marina, the air cool against her skin. She almost turns back twice, but something keeps pushing her forward. When she arrives, she sees him standing near the water, dressed simply, without the usual entourage or expensive suit. It is the first time she has seen him alone. He turns when he hears her footsteps, and for the first time since the night in the restaurant, his expression is not arrogant. It is tired and human. "Thank you for coming," he says quietly. Maya stands a few feet away, her arms crossed, unsure of what to expect. "Why am I here?" she asks. He takes a deep breath. "I lost the deal," he admits. "People are questioning my leadership. Investors are pulling out. And everyone keeps replaying the moment you stood up to me." Maya does not respond. She is not here to comfort him. He looks out at the water before continuing. "I have spent my entire life believing that money and power made me untouchable. That I could talk to people however I wanted, treat them however I wanted, and nothing would ever happen. He turns to face her again, his voice steady but softer than she has ever heard it. But you made me see something that night. You showed me that dignity does not come from wealth. It comes from character. And you have something I lost a long time ago. Maya feels a shift in the air, a ripple of sincerity she did not expect. She watches him closely, searching for the arrogance she had seen before, but it is not there. I hurt people, he says quietly. And I hurt you. I was wrong. The wind blows gently across the marina, carrying the weight of his confession. Maya takes a breath, feeling her mother's presence in the back of her mind, steady and grounding. She does not forgive him. Not yet. But she listens. And for the first time, the CEO looks like a man trying to find his way back to something he lost. Respect, integrity, humanity. And as the sun dips lower in the sky, Maya realizes that this moment is not an ending. It is the beginning of a reckoning he never saw coming. Days pass, and Maya finds herself back at the same restaurant. But this time it feels different. The air is lighter somehow, even though the weight of the world still hovers over the restaurant's polished surfaces. The CEO's confession that night at the marina lingers in her mind. He hadn't asked for forgiveness, but he had offered her something even more valuable, an acknowledgement of his faults. That, she realizes, is more than most people ever get. But Maya's not here to offer forgiveness. She's here to move forward, to take control of her own life. She knows that her future isn't tied to him or the restaurant, but to the values her mother instilled in her. As Maya works through the evening shift, something catches her eye, a letter. The familiar handwriting on the envelope makes her pause. She recognizes it immediately. It's from the CEO. Her fingers tremble slightly as she opens the envelope, reading the words written inside. I meant every word I said. I have taken full responsibility for my actions and my failures. I want to make it right. I've arranged for a scholarship for you to attend any university you choose. It's not charity, it's an opportunity. Please consider it. It's time to change the way I live my life. This is my way of starting. The words hit her harder than she expected. A scholarship. A chance to leave behind everything she's ever known and build something new. The offer is more than generous. It's transformative. Maya feels a strange mix of emotions. Part of her wants to laugh. She spent so much of her life working for every penny, every opportunity, and now this man is offering her a way out of the very life she's worked so hard to carve for herself. But then another part of her feels conflicted. It's too easy, too convenient. She isn't sure if she can trust it. She isn't sure if she even wants to accept it. The next morning, as she stands in front of the restaurant, looking at the familiar neon sign, Maya knows she has decisions to make. The city hums with the sound of life, people going about their business, unaware of the internal struggle she's facing. What does she want? A future defined by someone else's generosity, or one she creates on her own terms? She knows what her mother would say. Take what's yours, Maya. Don't wait for anyone else to give it to you. The words echo in her mind, a constant reminder that nothing worth having comes easy. And yet, she also knows that this scholarship could be a turning point, a way to finally escape the cycle she's been trapped in for so long. At the same time, she can't ignore the life she's built here. Her coworkers, the regular customers, the small victories she's won on her own. These things matter to her, more than she's willing to admit. That night, the decision looms over her. The CEO reaches out again, this time with a simple message. You've earned this. Don't let fear stop you from seizing the future. Fear. It's something Maya has felt her entire life. The fear of being overlooked, the fear of not being enough. But as she stares at the message on her phone, she feels a shift inside her. Maybe it's time to let go of that fear. Maybe it's time to step into the future, a future she creates on her own. She takes a deep breath and types her response. Thank you for the offer. I will think about it. But I won't make any decisions based on what I think I owe you. I'll make them based on what I owe myself. The next morning, as the sun rises over the skyline, Maya steps outside with a new sense of purpose. She doesn't need to follow in anyone else's footsteps. She has her own path to follow, and it's hers alone to choose. She isn't sure what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, she feels like she's in control of her own destiny. The days after her decision are a blur. Maya doesn't make any quick moves regarding the scholarship. Instead, She takes the time to reflect on her options. She walks through the bustling streets of San Francisco, taking in the sounds and smells of the city, her mind racing with possibilities. The offer from the CEO lingers in her thoughts, but so do the lessons her mother taught her. Maya knows that taking this scholarship would change her life, but it feels like the easy way out. She doesn't want her success to be handed to her. She wants to earn it, to prove that she can stand on her own 2 feet. One evening, as she walks home from her shift at the restaurant, her phone buzzes. It's a message from her mother's old friend, a woman Maya has always looked up to as a second mother. Maya, I heard about the scholarship. Whatever you decide, remember that your worth isn't measured by what people give you. It's measured by what you give to yourself. If you decide to go for it, make sure it's because it's what you want, not what anyone else thinks you should do. Maya stops walking, her heart pounding. It's like her mother's voice, reminding her once again that she's in control of her own fate. The message is a turning point. She doesn't need to let the CEO's offer dictate her future. She doesn't need to follow someone else's path to success. She has the strength within herself to create her own. The next day, as she steps into the restaurant, Maya feels different. The weight she's been carrying seems lighter, as if she's finally made a decision that's truly hers. She knows that whatever happens next, it will be because she chose it. The CEO, however, doesn't give up so easily. He tries to call her several times, but Maya doesn't pick up. She doesn't need to hear his voice anymore. She knows what she has to do. That evening, as she walks to the marina again, she feels a sense of calm settle over her. She's not going to take the scholarship. She's not going to follow the easy path. She's going to create her own way. When she arrives at the marina, she finds the CEO waiting by the water, his expression unreadable. He's been waiting for her. I didn't think you'd show up, he says, his voice low, almost hesitant. Maya looks at him for a moment, then shakes her head. I'm not taking your offer, she says simply. I've decided to earn my future, not have it handed to me. The CEO stands still for a long moment, then nods, as if he expected this. I understand, he says quietly, but I hope you know that you don't have to do this alone. Maya doesn't respond. She doesn't need to. She knows that the only person she truly needs to rely on is herself. Goodbye, Maya, he says, turning away, and she watches him walk off into the distance. As he leaves, Maya feels a strange sense of peace wash over her. She's done what's right for her. She's chosen her own path, and that's worth more than any scholarship or offer could ever be. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, and for the first time in a long time, Maya feels like she's exactly where she's supposed to be. Weeks pass, and the decision Maya made that night by the marina continues to shape her life. The restaurant feels different, less like a place she's stuck in and more like a temporary stop on her journey. Maya still serves her tables with the same precision and grace as before, but now she knows that her future is not tied to this place, nor is it tied to any other person's idea of what she should do. She walks through the restaurant with a quiet confidence, her head held high, knowing that no matter what happens next, she is the one in control of her story. One evening, as she closes up, the manager calls her into his office. He has a new tone in his voice, one that catches her attention. Maya, he says, his voice softer than usual. I've been talking to some people. They've seen what you've done, how you handled the CEO, and how you've been carrying yourself since. You've earned more than just respect here. He pauses, letting the words settle. I've spoken to the owners. They want to offer you something, an opportunity to run your own section here, to manage, to lead. Maya's heart races. She wasn't expecting this, but it feels right. It feels like her hard work is finally paying off in a way that doesn't involve anyone else's help. I'm honored, she says, her voice steady. But I need some time to think about it. She walks out of the office, her thoughts swirling. Running her own section, managing people, that's not something she ever thought she'd be offered. But now, standing on the brink of something bigger, she knows that it's her choice to make. Later that night, she takes a walk, the cool night air filling her lungs as she thinks about the offer. The wind rustles through the trees, and for the first time in a long time, Maya feels truly free. Free to make her own decisions, free to decide where she's going next. She knows she can't stay in the restaurant forever, but maybe this is the step she needs to take before she moves on. The next day, she meets with the manager again. I'm ready, she says, her voice firm with resolve. I'll take the offer. I'm going to run this section, and I'm going to do it my way. The manager smiles, a look of approval in his eyes. I knew you would. I've seen the way you handle yourself. You've got what it takes. With that, Maya steps into a new role at the restaurant. But this time, she does it on her terms. She's no longer just the waitress in the back. She's the one people rely on, the one who leads by example, the one who knows that strength isn't about power. It's about having the courage to stay true to yourself. As the weeks go by, Maya's new role feels more natural than she ever expected. She's respected by her coworkers, and the customers start to notice the change too. They see her as someone who has earned her place, someone who is capable of anything she puts her mind to. She handles the challenges that come with her new position with grace, and slowly, she begins to see that the life she's building isn't one given to her by someone else. It's one she's built herself. One day, while working, a familiar figure walks through the door. It's the CEO again. Maya feels a moment of hesitation, but it quickly fades. She's no longer the young waitress he once belittled. She's a leader in her own right. He approaches her table, his eyes scanning her face as if seeing her for the first time. Maya, he says, his voice quieter now. I wanted to say that I've been following your progress. You've done well. I've learned more from you than I ever expected. Maya looks at him, not with resentment, but with the quiet understanding that she has surpassed him in ways he'll never understand. Thank you, she replies, her voice steady. But I didn't do it for you. I did it for me. As he walks away, Maya watches him go, feeling a sense of peace. She doesn't need his approval anymore. She's built something for herself, and that is more powerful than anything he could have ever given her. She turns back to the restaurant, the sound of the customers' voices filling the air, and smiles to herself. This is just the beginning of what she will accomplish. As the months pass, Maya's life continues to shift, and she finds herself more at peace with the choices she's made. The restaurant, once just a job, has become her platform, a place where she's not just working to survive, but thriving. She manages her section with a calm confidence that's hard to ignore. Her team respects her, the customers enjoy the level of service she provides, and slowly, the reputation of the restaurant starts to grow. But it's not just her skills that have made her successful. It's her character, the very thing she fought for when she stood up to the CEO that night. As she walks through the bustling kitchen, the sound of sizzling pans and clinking glasses filling the air, Maya is approached by a familiar face. It's the restaurant owner, his posture straighter than usual, a slight smile on his face. Maya, he says, there's someone here to see you. He steps aside, and Maya's heart skips a beat. Standing there, in the doorway, is the CEO. His suit is still sharp, but there's something different in his expression. It's not the same arrogance she remembers, it's humility. Maya, he begins, his voice quieter than she's ever heard it. I wanted to apologize again. For everything. Maya stands still, her mind racing. She's not sure what to expect, but she knows she's in control now. She's not the same woman she was when they first met. You don't need to apologize, she says calmly, her voice steady. I've moved on. The CEO nods, as if he expected her to say that. He steps closer, his hands outstretched, not in an offer of power, but as a gesture of respect. I know, he says, but I need you. To know that I've learned from you. I've learned that real strength isn't about control or money. It's about standing up for what's right, even when the world tells you to stay silent. Maya looks at him for a moment, considering his words. She's not looking for validation or apologies, but she's not blind to the growth she's seeing in him. I appreciate that, she says, her gaze meeting his. But I don't need your approval anymore. I'm doing just fine on my own. The CEO smiles, genuinely this time, before taking a step back. I can see that, he says. And that's why I'm here. I wanted to tell you that I've made some changes in my company. I'm starting from scratch, with new values. And I wanted you to be a part of that. Maya raises an eyebrow, curious but cautious. What do you mean? I'm offering you a position, he says. A leadership role. One that will allow you to shape not just the company's future, but the way it impacts the world. You have the power to make a difference, Maya. I want you to use that power, to be a part of something bigger than just profits. Maya is silent for a moment, weighing the offer. She knows what she's capable of, but this is a different path. One she hadn't expected. She's worked hard to get where she is, And the idea of joining forces with the very man who once belittled her feels like a strange twist of fate. But then she remembers her mother's words. Take what's yours, Maya. Don't wait for anyone to give it to you. She looks at the CEO, her decision clear in her mind. I appreciate the offer, she says, but I'm building my own future. I don't need a seat at your table. I've got my own. The CEO nods, a mix of respect and understanding in his eyes. I figured you might say that, but I wanted to offer it anyway. You've earned it. With that, he turns and walks out of the restaurant, leaving Maya standing in the middle of the kitchen. The bustling sounds of the restaurant seem to fade into the background as she reflects on everything that has led her to this point. Maya smiles to herself, knowing that the life she's building is hers and hers alone. She doesn't need anyone's approval. She's already on the path to greatness. And with every step, she's getting closer to the future she's always dreamed of. One where she's in control, one where she makes the rules. Months go by, and Maya's life has transformed in ways she never imagined. The restaurant, now a place where she leads with strength and respect, no longer holds the weight it once did. She has made her mark, not just as a waitress, but as a respected leader. Her section, once just a part of the restaurant, has become the heart of the operation, a place where customers feel seen and appreciated, where the staff is empowered and motivated. Maya doesn't take this responsibility lightly. She works hard, not for the approval of others, but because she knows that every small act of kindness, every gesture of respect, matters. Her days are filled with challenges, but they are her challenges, one she faces head-on with the confidence that comes from knowing who she is. She no longer worries about being overlooked. She's no longer waiting for permission to succeed. She has earned her place, and with that, she's building a life that's entirely her own. One afternoon, as Maya walks into the restaurant, she notices a familiar face sitting at a table in her section. It's the CEO. This time, he isn't alone. He's with a group of investors, but there's no arrogance in his posture, no sense of superiority in his gaze. He's different. Maya approaches the table, her heart steady. She's no longer intimidated by him. Maya, he says, looking up at her with a genuine smile. I came here because I wanted to see you, to see how you're doing. She stands still for a moment, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. The last time they spoke, there was distance between them, a barrier of power and ego. But now it's gone. I'm doing well, she replies, her tone even, but warm. Better than I ever expected. The CEO nods, taking a deep breath. I've been watching you, Maya, he says quietly. I see the way you lead, the way you treat people. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I see now that the way you live your life, the way you build your success, it's the right way. Maya smiles softly, but she doesn't say anything. She doesn't need to. The change is in his words, in the way he's acknowledging her strength and resilience. It's a validation that she's never needed from him, but it feels good to hear anyway. You've earned everything you have, he continues. And I respect that. I wanted you to know that, regardless of anything else. With that, he stands up, extending his hand toward her. For a moment, Maya hesitates, but then she reaches out and shakes his hand. Not out of obligation, but because she knows she's in control of her own story now. Thank you, she says simply. The CEO nods, and as he turns to leave, Maya watches him walk away with a sense of finality. She's free. Free from the need to prove herself to anyone. Free from the need to seek validation. Her future is her own, and with every step she takes, she knows she's creating a life that she's proud of. The restaurant may have been the beginning of her journey, but it's no longer the destination. She's building something much bigger now. A future where she's in control, where she makes the rules, and where she defines her own success. Maya walks back to her section, her heart light. The world may still be full of challenges, but she's ready for whatever comes next. She knows that no matter what, she has the strength to face it and the courage to keep moving forward. The path ahead is hers to create, and she's more than ready to embrace it.